Any more news updates that should be out there? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. I wasn't even planning. I figured that something would happen after the recording of that video that the Vikings traded for Jalen Reagor. And of course, with the roster being at the final 53, they have to cut somebody to make that move happen. I was like, it's not going to be anybody worth raising hell about. Mm, maybe Austin Schlottman or Oli Udo or somebody. They ended up releasing Ihmir Smith Marsette. So, sure, on one hand, we can get upset about ISM, and I get it as far as the potential that he brings. Certainly not in the punt return game. He was god awful. But as far as a wide receiver, you want to talk about an explosive small sample size. Last year for the Vikings, 5 catches on 6 targets, 116 yards, 23 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns, along of 44 yards. That's incredible. So, yeah, maybe there's something there, but if we are talking about potential, what are we going to see here if we have to pick one of the guys? Is it going to be Ihmir Smith Marsette or a former first round pick? I would probably say Jalen Reagor. But even if ISM turns out to be something, we still have Justin Jefferson, who's the best receiver in the league. KJ Osborne is coming into his own. I think we'll be fine. If now wherever ISM ends up going, certainly he could take off, but I'm not really worked up about it as most of you probably are. Although, if you're going to choose someone to release, my God, Oli Udo, he was right there. We don't need him on the roster. Are you kidding me? But that's what the Vikings did. So, your thoughts on that? The whole Jalen Reagor thing. That's literally the one team that he may have equal problems on compared to the Philadelphia Eagles. And Justin Jefferson, he talked about that, I think, some point last year. I feel paraphrasing here. I feel bad for him with the comparisons, productions not really living up to where he got drafted, all this other stuff. And now he's right there on the same team as him. That's got to be tough. But unless ISM turns out to be, I don't know, a legit wide receiver 2 or 3 guy somewhere else. Worst case, the Packers, they have serious issues at wide receiver. The worst case scenario is he goes to Green Bay and turns into a legit threat, but I don't know if I see that happening. I really don't. Rieger might, I don't know, he might turn out pretty good. I don't think he will, but he might. More of your thoughts. Actually, I don't think I've gotten to any of your thoughts so far. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining the live stream. I just was not expecting this move to happen for the trade of Jalen Reagor to release Ihmir Smith Marsette. I'm not worked up about it, but at the same time, there are other players you could have let go that has less value compared to Ihmir Smith Marsette. Vikings Productions 1 says Ihmir Smith Marsette over Jalen Reagor. I get it. I totally get it. I don't know if I'm going to raise hell about it, but I understand. Lucas says, I can't even take a nap without Vikings doing things. Cut ISM. Yeah, man. He's going to be a punt returner for us, Jalen Reagor. So there is that. But I'm not expecting. Then again, with the lack of depth at tight end, you're going to have to run a series of maybe empty set formations with wide receivers. So Jalen Reagor could have some opportunities at wide receiver for this team. Can he catch the ball? 7% drop rate last year. That is terrible. But you know what? Change of scenery. Forget about Justin Jefferson. Focus on yourself. Maybe he can be good for us. And it's funny because in my notes, sometimes when you do these recordings, enough times you forget about things that you previously wanted to mention. So I was actually going to mention, hey, you know what? Jalen Reagor, he can maybe compete with ISM or Jalen Naylor for wide receiver 4 or 5. I think I mentioned the 4 or 5, but not the names associated with that. I completely forgot. And I guess it turned out to be good because right after I got done uploading, actually, no, right after I stopped recording, I went ahead and looked at in fact, let me go ahead and see if there's any goddamn news for this team. Because by all means, with my luck, something's going to break right now again. Soon as I went back on to say, okay, have the Vikings done anything? Oh, they released Ihmir Smith Marsette. Wow, are you kidding me? So I figured might as well do a live stream on that. I can understand being upset about that. In fact, if we want to look at it from a whole, the Vikings trading for two guys from TCU that have been underwhelming with their previous teams. And if you think about the totality of letting go Armon Watts and trading away, releasing Ihmir Smith Marsette for Ross Blacklock and Jalen Reagor, on the surface, that does not look good. I get it. And I really got some concerns on this defensive line. I already had it with Armon Watts there, but assuming that Ross Blacklock starts on the D line, I don't know, man. So as a whole, I get it. But I guess individually, Ihmir Smith Marsette, Jalen Reagor, I don't know, man. I don't know. He may end up going to Green Bay and kicking ass. We'll see. No Step 15 says, I don't think the coaches trusted Marsette. I don't know why. He's not bad. Just needs to kind of reel it in a little bit. Kind of like Andrew Booth Jr. Just, kind of a little bit too much energy at times, but he could be a good player. Like I said, that sample size last year is incredible. It really is. If we're comparing stats and plays between ISM and Reagor, it's no question that so far, even on a smaller scale, Ihmir Smith Marsette is better. But if we're talking about upside ceiling, I'll take my chances with the former first round pick 2 years ago. That's just me. Ihmir Smith Marsette really needs to turn into, I don't know, Christian Kirk for me to get upset about it long term. Let's see. Tristan D with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Says Sean Mannion signed with the Seahawks. He might be their best quarterback now. And you're actually not far off, because it's funny. I was taking notes as far as reacting to the practice squad players that the Vikings signed. The Vikings, they claimed they weren't, maybe they put in a claim for players, but they weren't rewarded with any players off the waivers. I was going to talk about as far as the players that the Vikings signed on their practice squad. And then the Jalen Reagor news broke, and I said, okay, well, I got to talk about that, obviously. But a player that they did not add to their practice squad, Sean Mannion, who's going to Seattle, he elected to go to Seattle instead. And for his career, in fact, let me bring up Reasoning by Chris Thomason. Let's see if I can bring it up. It's too much to sift through. So I'm going to paraphrase. Chris Thomason tweeted out that he feels like it's better for his career, Sean Mannion, which I get in terms of having the better opportunity to maybe get elevated to the active roster and the potential to play. Seattle, no doubt, is the better situation because Geno Smith, he's the starter. Drew Lock, he's been a disaster. Certainly, that's the better situation for him, but best of luck to him. He's gone now. I am sitting on cloud nine, damn it, as far as the trifecta of Zim, Anthony Barr, and Sean Mannion. All those dudes are gone in one offseason. Bring it on. Love it. Good stuff. Let's see. Arik Young says Ihmir Smith Marsette reportedly got into an altercation with Andrew Booth. When was this? Really? When was this? Was that recent? Because, I mean, if this was a while ago, like in training camp or something, you could have released him. You could have released him yesterday as far as the final cuts, not today. I don't know. How long ago was that alleged altercation? But even still, players, they eventually you practice against your own team enough times, fights, scuffles are going to happen. I need more information on that. Daniel says, if Smith Marsette goes to Green Bay, I'm going to be pissed. Yeah. They need some serious help at receiver. They've got, so far right now, I know they drafted, what's his name? Christian Watson or Watkins? Let me bring up this dude. Their depth chart right now. They need help at wide receiver. And that, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback to receiver chemistry is so important. So I think there's going to be a big learning curve there. Okay, so they drafted Christian Watson. There were thoughts that he was going to be that next dude, but as far as their depth chart right now, Alan Lazard, he's probably going to be their wide receiver one. You got Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb in the slot, so they need some help. Could Ihmir Smith Marsette go to Green Bay and light it up? Maybe, but I don't know. That's just the opportunity is definitely right there. I hope he ends up going to like Seattle or a team that has terrible quarterback play. So that way we don't have to think about it. But if he does go elsewhere and light it up, that's going to look bad on Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. But I'm not going to blame him right now as far as there were other players that you could have dropped for Jalen Reagor for sure. But I don't know. I'm not really that worked up about it. Arik Young says, told Booth to sleep with both eyes open. Oh my God. Give me, all right, please. I need more information. This is the first that I'm hearing about this alleged altercation between ISM and Andrew Booth Jr. Now, coming from the side of Booth, I could totally see that happening. Somewhat of a hothead, needs to reel it in, I feel like, especially after the whistle. Taunting penalties may come his way, but I need information. As self-taught infection says sources, I need a source. I don't know, man. Big head to big head with the super chat. Sean Mannion was an icon. Stop, man. I can't do that. Yeah, he was an icon. All right, he can be an icon over in Seattle. Get out of here. Let's see. More of your thoughts. I don't know. Jalen Reagor, if coming out of TCU, I get the hype. In my defense, I never, as much as I was down on Justin Jefferson, which I don't think there's ever been a situation where I've been more wrong than what I was on Justin Jefferson, where I said I would take Jerry Jeudy over him. And quite honestly, most of the people doing mock drafts, they would have taken Jerry Jeudy ahead of Justin Jefferson, including me. But I was just saying the ceiling for him is a guy like Mohamed Sanu as a wide receiver too. I was definitely wrong about that. But in Jalen Reagor, maybe I would have taken him ahead of Jefferson, but he was a first round pick. I think there's more upside to him than Ihmir Smith Marsette. I'm just not. I don't know. T Matt says, greetings, Randy from New Mexico. What up? More of your thoughts. Daniel says we should have traded ISM. Would someone have traded for him? A guy that was our wide receiver 4 on the depth chart? I don't know about that. Haley says, can you shake it for us, Randy? What? No. You kidding me? I know I've said it. I've been very sarcastic when I say, oh, if the Vikings do this, I'll shake I'm not shaking my ass on here. No. Refuse. Not in a circus. Let's see. Shiro says Sean Mannion will be in ESPN's body issue. I'm done with y'all. Y'all are hilarious. This is amazing. Lucas says, Randy, that ISM and Booth thing is fake. It has to be. Like, I've heard nothing about it. In fact, where I get most of my information from, especially breaking news, is Bleacher Report. It is amazing. I mean, anything in real time Vikings related from beat writers, people that cover the team, it will be right there. I've literally seen zero information as far as some sort of beef between ISM and Andrew Booth Jr. Yeah, nothing. So I'm assuming it's fake. More of your thoughts. Let's see. Logan MD says, Randy, are these moves making you lose faith in the new regime? No. There are, at least with this move, as far as who they dropped for Jalen Reagor and the way that Kwesi went about the draft, those are pretty much the two things that I can really just say, all right, I've got a problem with. But in the totality, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not losing faith yet. You do have Zadarius Smith. Kwesi did sign him. And I mean, there's still plenty of time. Now, they have not addressed the center position at all. I hate the fact that they've maybe Chris Reed, he didn't have any snap issues last week against the Denver Broncos. So maybe they are going to give him a real shot to usurp the starting center position from Bradbury, if not even if, when he struggles. So we'll see about that. But no, I haven't lost faith yet. Maybe it's worst case, it's his first year and he can learn from the mistakes. Whereas before with the previous GM, I'm like, this is year after year. You're doing the same stupid shit. So you got to give him, I would say, before I say I lose faith in this new regime, I haven't lost any faith in Kevin O'Connell. I think he's going to be great. But in terms of the GM, got to give him, I would say, 2 to 3 years. And I'm going to err on the side of caution and say 3 years. We'll see what he does after that third off season. 2 more to get it right. But yeah, got to do something about center. It's going to be really bad. More of your thoughts? Uh, Daniel says, so with this much cap left, I'm guessing Sue is on his way. Maybe. I mean, my God, the another problem that you created in this situation, I guess I talked about two in terms of letting go of ISM and then the way they went about the draft. They could have had literally the Vikings could still have every single player that they had drafted and then some if they really, for lack of a better phrase, value the value that they had in the draft. They could have had all the players they have right now plus more. But a third aspect that I just thought of with this is that, letting go of Armin Watts in favor, I'm guessing Ross Blacklock is going to start. That's going to be a disaster. So that's three things you can really look at. So anyway, give them more than one off season. Maybe it'll be fine. Let's see. I shot you 99. What up? Says reports say they're in talks with Sue, but asking price is an issue right now. Yeah, that's been the case for a while now. I think it was Darren Doogie Wolfson who first broke that a couple of weeks ago. So the asking price is definitely more than what the Vikings want to offer. But at this point, Kwesi has really dug himself into a hole as far as the defensive line. At this point, I was just saying you should make a play for it Ndamukong Suh. I think they could really use him. They desperately need him right now. You can't have Ross Blacklock on the starting defensive line. And I loved him coming out of TCU. Big fan of his. But it just hasn't panned out in the pros so far. Lamar says, don't tell me I missed you. Shake it, Randy. You didn't miss it because it ain't happening. Jamie says, what's up, Jamie? Good to hear from you. Jamie says, wow, I'm a little surprised you weren't more upset about the ISM release because I don't think it's going to move the needle for this team. I think this team is still destined for greatness. I think they could have They could have released a guy like Oli Udo instead of Ihmir Smith Marsette, certainly. But there's not. This doesn't really move the needle for me to raise hell about. And if there's anybody that will find something to complain and raise all holy hell, it's me. It's just all right, cool. We have a punt returner. All right. So let's say if the Vikings did not trade for Jalen Reagor, they could have still traded for him and kept Ihmir Smith Marsette. But let's say they did not trade for Reagor at all. Okay. Is Ihmir Smith Marsette going to be our punt returner still who keeps muffing punts, can't even handle kickoffs? Is that going to be the situation? We would have had no answer in the punt return game. We at least have that now in Jalen Reagor to where, okay, the standards are so low. Just don't muff punts. Can you do that? If so, great. I'm all right. I ain't worried about it. Spiking Viking says trade Madison for Kelsey. Oh, the center? Yeah, the Eagles, they're not getting rid of Jason Kelsey, bro. He's an Eagle for life. And man, I would love Jason Kelsey. That is Jason Kelsey, I'm sure Bradbury was compared as far as had Jason Kelsey type of comparisons being an undersized center. But nah, Kelsey is a baller, bro. I would love it, but that's never going to happen. They're never going to get rid of him. In fact, I think I saw it to where paraphrasing, but either Kelsey would return to Philadelphia or he was going to retire. He has no interest in playing anywhere else. I shot you 99 says, "Are you surprised we're keeping 4 running backs?" Absolutely not. I even projected on my 53-man roster that after CJ Ham, the fullback, we're going to have 4 running backs in Cook, Madison, and Wangu and Chandler. So no, there's a lot of talent in that running back room. Why release any of them? Especially with Madison, he'll either be gone at the trade deadline this year or he'll be gone next year. So why sell yourself short by releasing a guy like Nwangu or Chandler? You can have them with the running back group next year. Alan Gomez says realistic Randy, more like realistic fart. All right. More of your thoughts? Taylor says this team is going to be garbage if JJ or Kirk miss time. Nick Mullins, I think, will give this team a chance if Kirk goes down. He has been Iron Man in his career, but at some point the shoe has to drop. Knock on wood. I'm not wishing any injuries on anybody. That's terrible. But at some point, perhaps he has to come in. If Jefferson goes down, yeah, well, you still have Dalvin Cook. You can run the offense through him. You still have KJ Osborne and Thielen. If Irv stays healthy, that would be great. But if you trade for a guy like Mike Gesicki, which I don't know how that's going to work cap-wise after acquiring Jalen Reagor, but the more weapons you have, the better. Certainly, it impacts our offense heavily, but I think with Kirk Cousins, who's still a damn good quarterback, the amount of weapons that we have on offense is still enough to where I don't think the sky is falling. Now, if Kirk Cousins goes down for an extended period of time, sure, that's you don't want that. Let's see. Jorge says, "Do you think the Vikings will trade Cook or Thielen during the season?" Absolutely not. No. No. I think they would trade Madison, but no, at this point, no. I don't think it. If you were going to trade Dalvin Cook, they would have done it already. You would have gotten a nice haul for him right now. But at some point, I think they're going to trade him next year, in my humble opinion. Let's see more of your thoughts. Taylor says, "I just heard a lot of ifs there." That's what you have to do for every team. Ifs. Angel Dust says, "Randy, your thoughts on the tight end from Buffalo, OJ Howard, who couldn't make it. His first team before Buffalo was what? Was it Tampa? I think it was Tampa. Let me make sure before I start going off real quick on this dude. Because there is a lot. Not a lot. There is something I do want to say about. Yeah, he was in Tampa and then went to Buffalo and didn't make it there. So if you can't make it there, I remember, I think it was Brady's first year there. So not last year, the year before last, 2020, when they won the Super Bowl. And they were going to make that push into the playoffs. And oh my God, OJ Howard and Rob Gronkowski, it's going to be great. He's been one of those guys that's just every year a lot of hype, but nothing to back it up. Nah, bro. If he might be better than Chris Herndon, but not by much. I'm super good. Excuse me. More of your thoughts. Spiking Viking 1977. The negativity. I can't handle it. Says, if this team goes 0-4, they will blow it up. You think, well, yeah, okay, maybe. They're not going to go 0-4. Sick of this negativity. You need to be more positive. Tiny Viking Bro says, as an Iowa fan, ISM was very immature, and Kevin O'Connell wasn't going to put up with that. Let's see what Reagor can do. You would certainly have more insight to that than the general fan. So that's some very good insight. Yeah, and Kevin O'Connell has talked about collaboration and working together and all this fluffy stuff. So but that's not to say that he's been that way for the Vikings. So we have to be fair to him. But if he was and he showed any arrogance, then I get it. That's not what Kevin O'Connell wants, neither in his coaching staff or in his players. So we'll see, man. We'll see where he gets picked up. I think someone's going to claim him. If he goes to Green Bay, there's a big opportunity for him. I would hate that. Sean Brown says, no, Randy, OJ got hurt and missed the whole season Brady's first year. Oh, dum-dum-dum. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was last year. Maybe it was last year, 2021. I just know one of those seasons, obviously it had to have been last year. There was just a lot of hype with this guy in fantasy football, especially. Pick this guy up, OJ Howard. You're trying to make a push into the playoffs. This the guy, and nah, I'm super good. Curtis says, are we ever going to address the center position? That's what's needed. Nope. No, we are not. Chris Reed had a good game last week, and after Bradbury gives up 2 sacks to Kenny Clark for first week 1 against the Green Bay Packers at US Bank Stadium. After that, maybe they'll make a change, but no, they are all in. This regime is all in on Garrett Bradbury. Marcos News Media says Schlottman will start for the Vikings. That ain't happening. As much as I want to get rid of Bradbury, Schlottman is kind of similar in the sense that I know there's been a lot of hype with him before last week where he had the snap infraction, but there were quite a few instances where, to their credit, guys like Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion, they got rid of the football before the pressure came. And that was against the 2s and the 3s. Going up against the 1s, I don't think he's ready yet. TF says, sounds like OJ lost you a few games in fantasy last year. Yeah, full disclosure, he did. I've got beef with him. OJ Howard. Hell no. Will Dowdy says, would you accept Gesicki for a 5th on the condition that Bradbury must start every snap at center all year? Would Miami accept a 5th? They're not going to go. I think you would have to give up. What do you think the Vikings would need to give up, or any team would need to give up for a Mike Gesicki? I think the conversation starts at a 3rd, probably looking at a 2nd. Now, if they ask for a 1st, I'd say, all right, you can F off. But no, 5th, that's a steal. I'll do that for Bradbury. Why not? I guess. Maybe I regret saying that. I don't know. Bradbury just sucks, man. He needs to go. Everybody has film on this guy. I don't care if you're the new coach and the new GM, and let's give him a chance. The entire league has film on everybody. You don't need to be in the locker room and be like, all right, let's make a decision here. Everybody knows that Garrett Bradbury stinks. Guess they need to see it. Just have front row seats to it, I guess, when the season starts. Whatever. Angel Dust Senior says, Randy, give us a prediction for the first half of the season, wins and losses. Well, let's bring that up. Vikings 2022 schedule. I'm really just not. I'm not upset about losing Ihmir Smith Marsette. He does have potential, but it's whatever. I'm not. Jalen Reagor, he has potential as well. Just needs to change the scenery. Standing next to the guy that he gets compared to the most all the time. That might be bad for him. We'll see. Okay. First half of the schedule. That would be against Green Bay. That learning curve that Aaron Rodgers needs for the receivers, I think it's going to be a lot to overcome week 1. Vikings win. Against the Philadelphia Eagles. If we want to, the Eagles defense is going to be really good. They got Jordan Davis, which I wish the Vikings were able to get, but whatever. Moving on from that, as far as Eagles versus Vikings, this is at Philadelphia. By the way, Vikings fans, do not go to Philly. If you do go to, because those fans are just, I think football fans in general, when you go to a road game wearing the opposing team, it's going to be tough. That said, I'm not even blowing smoke up your asses. I've been to Minnesota where my in-laws are Eagles fans, and they were decked out in their Eagles jerseys. And the Vikings fans, the nicest people. My God, they were so nice. But I think in football general, football fans are tough to opposing fans. Philadelphia is, they are horrible as far as how they treat opposing fans. Don't go. With that said, if we're talking about this, if we dumb it down to Kirk Cousins versus Jalen Hurts, Come on, bro. We're good. Outside of the run game, which they don't even trust Miles Sanders, really. They apparently are in desperate need for a running back. And I'm not really afraid of Jalen Hurts getting the ball to a guy like Devontae Smith or AJ Brown just because he still needs to develop. Jalen Hurts does. Vikings win. So that's 2-0. I know that was a long-winded breakdown, but against Detroit, we'll beat Detroit at home 3-0. The Saints at the Superdome, Jameis Winston. I don't know, man. He's even with as nice as he was last year before he got hurt. Pretty sure he averaged like 160 yards passing a game. He's always guaranteed for a touchdown and an interception 1-to-1 ratio. I'm gonna say the Vikings win that too. As optimistic as that is, 4-0 against the Bears. They're a disaster. They beat the Bears. Against the Dolphins, you know what? If we want to say there's a surprise loss in there, maybe it's them. I don't believe in Tua Tagovailoa at all. But with Tyreek Hill, if they still keep Mike Gesicki, they've got a nice running back group. Maybe it could be interesting. Their defense is not bad. All right, I'll give them the loss there. 5-1. Arizona. Can Daniil Hunter and Zadarius Smith contain Kyler Murray? I'm gonna say they do, and they're gonna be. Maybe that's the game that DeAndre Hopkins comes back. I'm gonna say they lose. All right, so that would be 5-2, and then I guess for you said half the schedule, but with 17 games, I'll just go with the ninth game at Washington, FedEx Field. The Washington Commanders, Carson Wentz versus Kirk Cousins. I'm super good. Vikings win that. So I'm gonna say the Vikings start off. What's that? 6-2, because the bye week is week 7. First half of the schedule, 6-2. Boom. TJ Martinez says, got to be careful for that trip against the Bears with the former head coach. Yes, we have a better head coach now. And I don't think Soldier Field is going to. Are they still at Soldier Field? I know they were talking about playing somewhere else. Chicago Bears Stadium. I want to make sure I get this right. Is it still Soldier Field? Apparently still. I think they're in the works of making. Anyway, I don't think Soldier Field is going to be a problem for us with this head coach anymore. Spiking Viking 1977 says Troy Williamson is available. I'm sure he is forever. That dude, you want to talk about drops, man. As long as Jalen Reagor can be better than Troy Williamson, we'll be fine. Adrian Ortiz, you bring up a good point, Adrian. Adrian says, wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Why did it say message retracted? I don't think you said anything bad. I saw it right before it got retracted. I don't know what happened. My bad. But Adrian said something along the lines of that Eagles defense is going to be tough with a guy like Garrett Bradbury as center, Jordan Davis. Have you seen his practice highlights? Just moving dudes the hell back with no resistance. That is going to be right. And with a guy like Fletcher Cox, if they decide to team up in the middle, if the Eagles are going to win that game, it's going to be because of that. So I'm going to say, instead of just the easy, the Vikings are going to win, I'm going to say it's a toss-up. I'll still say the Vikings win, and the Vikings still, first half of the schedule, they go 6-2, but maybe they go 5-3 instead. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. If they do lose, it's going to be because of center, and the front office will have no one to blame but themselves. So, Josh Barr says Eagles defense going to be nasty. It really, really is. It's going to be rough. TJ Martinez says the Eagles will lose because of their quarterback. If they lose, it's going to be because of that, but also that pressure up the middle. If the Vikings can overcome that, it's going to have to be because Ed Ingram is going to have to babysit Garrett Bradbury to his right. But then again, if the Eagles recognize that and load up to their left, Ed Ingram's right side, and they know Ingram is going to help out Bradbury in the middle, they're going to send extra pressure to their left. Brian O'Neill, he can handle whatever on an island, but anything inside of that, I don't know. That's got me thinking a little bit more. Good point, Adrian. That's gonna be tough. More of your thoughts. Buka Ram says offensive line is still looking bad. I think the only thing besides Bradbury, if we want to complain about, is Ezra Cleveland. And I think if the only reason why Cleveland isn't getting more of a, okay, what are we doing here, is because Bradbury is so bad. Assuming that the Vikings eventually move on and replace Bradbury, Cleveland is the next guy. But even still, I'll deal with it, Ezra Cleveland, as long as you have a competent center. But to go against your point, offensive line is still bad. Ed Ingram is a major boost to this offensive line. I think he has it. I think the Vikings are throwing little snippets. They're adding little pieces. It's slow and steady, wins the race, but Ed Ingram is a big help to this O-line. I'm telling you right now, him with Brian O'Neill to the right, it's going to be sick. I feel a lot better about the offensive line right now compared to last year. That's for sure. I think they got better. And Chris Reed is still there too. Okay. Coming off the bench. Hey, we're good. Matt Alex says, eating boneless wings right now, Randy, thoughts? Why? Get traditional. Boneless wings are nuggets. They're nuggets trying to be cool. Nuggets trying to be something that they're not. Hey, how do you do, cool kids? What's that mean with, what's the name, Bichetti? How do you do, cool kids? That's what boneless wings are. Get traditional wings. Boneless wings. Stop it. Self-taught infection says Ezra could do good this year. Also, got to keep in mind he was drafted as a left tackle and is playing at left guard after being put at right guard. I get it. It's not his fault as far as, hey, what's up going on with Ezra Cleveland? He was an offensive tackle, and we missed out on Trent Williams. We went ahead and drafted Ezra Cleveland out of Boise State. And I said, all right, cool. That's a wonderful consolation prize. And they went ahead and put him at right guard, then switched him to left guard. And now it's not his fault. He's an innocent bystander in this whole situation. I don't know if he can live up to playing quality left guard. I don't know if he can. I don't know, but we'll see. Shiro says trade Ezra for a pick. Is anyone going to trade for him as a guard? I don't know. I don't think so. Gary says, yo, Randy, you heard anything from Jim Stapleton lately? Jim Stapleton, bro, that dude can. I got to be very careful as far as what I say on YouTube. They give me the freedom to speak with profanity, but with a guy like Jim Stapleton, there's a saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And I know that doesn't apply to what I typically do on this channel, but I cannot say what I really feel about a guy like Jim Stapleton. I can't. That dude is whatever. I'm shit. Don't do. Okay. All right. Off it. I have nothing to say about him. Braden says, so happy I found your channel a year ago. Love the videos. Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks for joining the live stream and supporting this channel. You guys make it happen. Aurelian, I know I butchered your name, so my apologies for that. But Aurelian says, didn't like the ISM and Watts move, but then again, didn't like the draft, and it seems pretty good so far. The draft is, if you look at it from the standpoint of the players they have or the players they got in the draft, the Vikings did great. The problem is they could have got more on top of that. They lost so much value in the first two trades that they made with first Detroit and then Green Bay. Like, I know on the surface, well, the trade with Green Bay, it was great, but they used picks that they acquired with Detroit, which they went from, man, what was it, 12? Did they have pick 12 to go down to 32? And they used picks that they acquired from that to then trade further down with Green Bay. It was stupid. It was so dumb. And that's why I'm not going to go down this road anymore. But as far as I just hate how the word that just gets abused the most in draft season, value. Just value this and value this. I don't know if there's enough value and all this stuff. And Kwesi talked about value. Well, the value in the draft, the You could have endless 7th-round picks. It's not going to equal the value of the first pick. Like, just stop talking about value, especially after a draft performance like that. So, to your point, if we look at just the players they got, this is cool. Lewis Seen, Caleb Evans, Andrew Booth Jr., Ed Ingram. Just looking at that, wow. But just think they could add more on top of that. That's the can't do it. Can't. But I'm gonna give them 3 years. I'll give him 2 more off seasons before I say, all right, Quasi, bro, like what's happening? Or he could make up for it, learn from his mistakes this past draft, and get better. I don't know. We got to be fair. Exploited 138 says, big fan, Randy. Love the videos. I appreciate you. Hashi, the Pit Sky. I'm sure I destroyed your name. Which quarterback do you want in next year's draft? Well, they're still going to keep Kirk Cousins, so it's a matter of what backup quarterback. They're not going to be bad enough to get a guy like Stroud or Young. So I think they're going to stick with Kirk Cousins. And what backup quarterback do you want after next year? Unless it's Nick Mullins, maybe it's a guy like Blake Bortles. I don't know. I'm not really worried about it right now. Edgar Cruz says, Randy, you should work in the front office for the Vikings. We definitely will win every year. The Vikings would never hire me. I am very aware of that. Oh, they hate me. They would never bring me on at all. And I don't think I'm shit, but they would never hire me ever in any capacity. More of your thoughts. Putin Tang says, wouldn't it be a great season if Randy didn't have to rant? I love the rants though. Yeah, I'm a lot calmer, I feel like, this season heading into 2022. I feel a lot more positive and optimistic about this year. I feel great, man, because even though every year I would say, yeah, the Vikings, they got a chance to make something happen and it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. In the back of my head, I'm just like, we still got this head coach. We still got this guy. And it is not even a matter of if, it's a matter of when will this team fuck up because of this dude? When will he do something that is so fucking stupid? But I had to say, because of the potential and the players that we have, I don't have that issue anymore. I feel great. I feel good. A lot less rants this year, I feel. I don't want to rant. I want to feel great about the Vikings. Love this team. Jesse Smith says, why did Tyler Johnson go to Houston? Well, because I don't know. I mean, either the Vikings didn't put a claim on him or Houston put the claim in and they were ahead of the Vikings on waivers. I have no idea. Although I would have loved Tyler Johnson to be on this team. I thought he was a good player in college, especially. Let's see. Will Dowdy says, Mary Kill, Mackie, Judd, Declan. They're all great. Don't do that. They're all great people. Love them all. Mackie is great. Declan Goff, I love doing the podcast with him. And Judd Zolgad, like I said earlier, I think the last live stream I did, I can't remember the last time I did. I think it was a couple of days ago or maybe a week ago. But Judd Zolgad he really inspired me as far as putting videos out. I was listening to Judd Zolgad going back to 1500 ESPN before it was Mackie and Judd. It was Judd and Dubé. And I mean, I always thought when I first started this that I had to sound a certain way because you see the news and you see ESPN reporters and they sit all uptight and yes, we have these highlights here and look at this play and just all uptight. Whereas Judd Zolgad really gave me the confidence to be myself, that I can be a little bit unorthodox. So they are all great people, man. More of your thoughts. We'll do a few more. Aaron says, this is not Kirk Cousins' last contract with the Vikings. I believe that, actually. I don't believe this is his last contract. I think he'll play it out, get another one, just because for everyone that's all, listen, let's get rid of Kirk. Let's get a cheap rookie quarterback. How many teams have done that? The New York Jets right now, they don't know if Zach Wilson is going to be that guy. Before that, it was Sam Darnold. Before that, it was Geno Smith. Before that, Mark Sanchez. How many teams have gone down this path? Excuse me. And do we not need to be reminded of Christian Ponder? Do we not need to all the quarterbacks we've gone through? That is until we got to Kirk Cousins. There was Teddy Bridgewater with the knee. He's been back. Okay. Bridgewater has been active. He's been back. He's been healthy. And now he's the QB2 in Miami. You don't know what you got until it's gone. And for all of us, we go 2-15 every year, and we just keep drafting quarterbacks, and it doesn't work out year after year. Well, at least we don't have Kirk Cousins anymore that can maybe go to the playoffs. Come on, man. Stop. Raymond Fry with the $5 super chat says, why is Vikings Twitter freaking out? Ihmir Smith Marsette was a 5th-round pick. Jalen may not be a breakout star, but he was still a 1st-round pick. I do understand. That's exactly what I've been saying. He was a 5th-round pick, but the only argument against that, Raymond Fry, which I understand, is because the limited action that he got last year was great for Ihmir Smith Marsette, whereas the last 2 years combined for Jalen Reagor, it's been god-awful. But the defense, in Reagor's defense, he hasn't had quality quarterback play at all. Jalen Hurts is talented, but more so with his legs, taking off and handing the ball off. That's really it. Maybe ad-libbing, getting outside the pocket, finding open receivers that way. But as far as a pocket passing quarterback, he hasn't had that. He's going to have that now with Kirk Cousins. If you are open, Cousins is going to find you. If you still drop the ball at that point, then all right, bro, what is there to talk about? So, yeah. James says Stephon Diggs was a 5th. Yeah, for every Stephon Diggs you find in the 5th round, you find 1,000 guys like, I don't know. And Troy Williamson is bad, but he was a 1st-round pick. But Troy Williamson type of players. So, yeah, once in a while you find gems in the later rounds, but it's not often. Few more of your thoughts. BAS Dry Dock says the fear of another Ponder can't stop you from drafting your next quarterback. Who says it should stop you? You can have Kirk Cousins and some rookie quarterback at the same time, and if he develops, you can then move on from Kirk Cousins. But I feel like there's this irrational thought that, well, we need to get our next quarterback, our next guy in the draft, and Kirk Cousins needs to be gone. You can still be competitive and still have your young quarterback at the same time. I just don't like how it has to be mutually exclusive. Young quarterback or Kirk Cousins, you can have both. You don't have to rush him either. You could have your young quarterback develop on the bench for 2 or 3 years. It's fine. Ethan M with $5 super chat says, I'm very optimistic about Jalen Reagor, but we can't ignore the irony of Reagor and Jefferson on the same team. Yeah, I talked about that. My reaction video to the Vikings trading for Jalen Reagor. Listen, man, we can talk about being a pro all you want to, and he does the right things, and I'm not going to let this affect me, but if there was somebody that I was constantly compared to, and I know that I'm viewed as a bust player, this guy that I'm constantly compared to all the time, and every single time I got to see highlights of this dude on SportsCenter, to then end up working for the same team right next to this guy, and I'm not going to be the wide receiver 1 through 3. More often than not, I'm on the sidelines. I have to watch this dude light it up. I'm going to feel some type of way, man. Facts. That's going to be tough. More of your thoughts. We'll do one more. Arasi says 3 quarterbacks in NFL history have thrown for 4K plus 4K yards and 30 plus touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions. Kirk Cousins is one of them. Yeah, I feel like Kirk Cousins is the only player in all of sports that puts up numbers year after year, but we look for reasons why to tear it down as if it's fake. I've never seen anything like it. Can you? Pro sports, any athlete, a guy that puts up numbers and then, it doesn't count. And here's why. I think it's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it in my life. We'll do one more. Shit. I always say one more, then we end up doing 2 or 3 more after that. Shiro says, how many checkdowns did he have, though? Cousins? Come on, bro. All right. You really want to do this? How many checkdowns did Kirk Cousins have? All right. Let's look for quarterbacks, qualified players with in 2021, average yards per attempt. Kirk Cousins was 9th, top 10 in the league. In fact, 2 of these quarterbacks ahead of him don't even count. CJ Beathard in Jacksonville played just 2 games. Dante Pettis for the Giants played in 3 games. So they don't even really count. So really, Cousins is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, they accounted for that. Never mind. So either way, Kirk Cousins is 9th in the league in average yards per attempt. Checkdowns. If you throw checkdowns all game long, you're not going to be top 10. Why are we doing this? Why? No matter what he does, Kirk Cousins could win a Super Bowl and they'll still say, well, it was a fluke. It wasn't real. Stop it. Big Gritter 210 says, what is Cousins' primetime record? Well, in the NFL, football is the ultimate team sport. Jimmy Garoppolo, if we're going to go on that route, Jimmy Garoppolo should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If we're going to go that route. Jimmy Garoppolo stats. Well, what's his primetime record? What's his record overall? Kirk Cousins is 500 for his career. Jimmy Garoppolo, for his career, 33, 14, and 0. Anybody that says that Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins is high. They are smoking so much crap. No one's taking Garoppolo over Cousins unless you just have a vendetta against Cousins. Please. Win-loss record. Stop it. Yeah. Tom Van says QB don't have a win-loss record. This isn't tennis. This isn't a single player sport. It is a team sport. Stop. We'll do one more. All right, so now you're moving the goalposts. Gaetano says, what's his primetime record in games in which Cousins' team was favored? Come on, man. We're not going to do this. Team sport. Anything happens. This is the one year where he finally has a head coach that I think if shit hits the fan, go off on Kirk Cousins, it's fine. Like, no one would have succeeded at all. Stafford would not have won a Super Bowl last year with this team, with a crappy defense, with a head coach who probably will never see an opportunity for another head coaching gig again. Maybe defensive coordinator down the line, but that's about it. Stop it, man. Kirk Cousins, I believe in you. That's it for the live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you. Back at it tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.